Hey, everybody. Welcome to EduMatch. Thank you so much for joining us for this special episode. I am so happy and honored to talk with my good friend, Rachelle Dene Poth, also the author of In Other Words. So cannot wait to chat with her, get her to tell you her story. So for those of you who don't know Rachelle, and that would actually surprise me because she is an EduMatch regular. So she is a Spanish, French, and STEAM teacher. She has a great business, Thriving EDU LLC. She's an attorney. She has a master's degree in instructional tech, and she serves as president of the ISTE Teacher Educator Network and Communication Share for the Mobile Learning Network. She's been awarded with so many recognitions, such as the Presidential Gold Award for Volunteer Service to Education, 20 to Watch by NSBA, and the PAECT Outstanding Teacher of the Year in 2017. And she is also a Future Ready instructional coach, an EduGladiator, core warrior, and an affiliate of the Pushing Boundaries Consulting LLC. So welcome, Rachelle, to EduMatch.
Thank you, Sarah, for that's like a lot of information about me. It's okay.
Yes, well, I mean, you do so much, and you are just so amazing that, that was just the top of the iceberg. There's so much more we could say. So tell us, what inspired you to go into education?
It's funny, I've been asked that question so many times, especially like recently, just talking with other educators and when I go to conferences, and I can't really say like, oh yeah, when I was a kid, I wanted to be a teacher, or in high school, but growing up, I was surrounded by educators in my family. My parents would, quiz me and spend time with me working on homework in the evenings. When I wasn't in school, I was at home playing school. But in my family, I had an aunt who taught French, an uncle who taught English. I had some relatives who were school guidance counselors, school psychologists. So I was kind of surrounded by a lot of educators, but I always liked helping people in school. And in college, when I went, we tried to figure out what I was going to major in. And it was, I think, my junior year. And we looked at what I was good at and what I was not so good at. And I kind of it's like a suggestion to go into education. And so that's kind of how I found my way into it. But as I've been writing and looking back, I think about how many times I was either in school, playing school. And if I wasn't, I was always looking for something else to study. So I think all of that kind of came together for it.
Yes, absolutely. And you are definitely so dedicated to our profession. So everything you do is just remarkable. Wanted to give a quick shout out to Meredith, who is watching us on YouTube Live. Hey, Meredith. Hey, great to see you. All right. So you recently released a book through EduMatch Publishing. In other words, please tell us a little bit about your book.
Well, it's hard to put into words, which is kind of funny because it's called In Other Words. And I was thinking about this today when I first talked to you back in, I think, August or September about the idea for it. And I really didn't know what it would look like. But the way that I came about having this idea for the book is I was looking over my notes to create a presentation. And I realized all of the books that I had read, most of what I had written were quotes and things that even my students had come into classroom. I had a student who would write a quote on the board every day. And I just started to notice that I was really interested in quotes. And those, they kind of stuck with me. Especially the last couple of years. So I had this idea about like, what if you put a book together focused on quotes? I had no idea what that would look like. And I actually reached out to some different friends, especially like the 4 o'clock faculty, PLN. And I was very like, I don't even know what to call it, but I said, hey, if anybody's interested in, and I threw out a bunch of topics, let me know. And I put them into a group called the Writing Project. And so it kind of evolved over the fall where I listed all these quotes, got some people to write some stories. And so this book ended up being, it's, in other words, quotes that push our thinking. And it has quotes with some of my experiences. But then my favorite part about it is it has all of these other educators who shared either vignettes or even wrote a chapter where they take a quote that they picked and kind of share their experience with that same quote. And so it's just this whole big, I realized driving home one day, I thought, wow, that's a lot of information I have to figure out how to put into a book. But I'm so excited with how it came out because as you read it, 1, you don't have to be in education to read it and appreciate it. And 2, you walk away with so many new ideas. And I've learned so much through the whole process, but just hearing everybody's feedback about it, I think it's a really good way to learn like what it's like to be in education, but how to look at life differently too.
Yeah, totally. I love it. And I love that idea of using the quotes. It's kind of like crowdsourcing life, right? Like you're getting these quotes to inspire you and just these gems from all these other people to help push your thinking. So I love that. Love that. So you kind of touched on this, but I want to ask you, what impact are you hoping that that reading this book would have on the reader?
Well, to make them think about their own experiences, to be a little bit more perceptive, or just to kind of be aware of the people around them, to make moments matter. Reading the stories, like I was just thinking really quickly, how many people are involved in this book? And I think if you include the people who read it as part of the focus group, I think that I had like 48 people. 23 involved. I know, it's like I didn't realize how massive it was, but there were 10 people involved in writing chapters. I think 13 different people with vignettes, and I had 14 people do some graphics for the book. So you get a wide variety of perspectives. So I think if somebody's reading this book, it can be anybody reading the book. It's not one specific person who teaches in a certain area or in the United States, where they live, how long they've been in education, but they share stories that anybody who, whether you're a teacher or not, if you're a parent, you've been in the school and you've had a similar experience, or you have children in a school, you can all, I think everybody can relate to this book, and the quotes in it, I think, are just so amazing. And especially the ones that the other writers have contributed as well. So I think, and I hope that when people read it, it'll just have them start to think about things a little bit differently. Maybe one or two of the quotes or more will kind of stick with them. But then also, hopefully, people will start to tell their own stories and share and start conversations with the people they work with their families, with their friends. That's hopefully what will happen.
That is awesome. And you're kind of hitting on some things that we want to dive into in just a moment. But that is massive. So I didn't even realize it until you said it. But yeah, 48 people.
I saw your eyes. I was like, I know, right? Yeah, it's a
Oh
lot.
my gosh, that is incredible. So what was it like working with that many people? Like just having like a project at that massive of a scale. What was that like?
Well, it's interesting because, I've been working on 3 different books at the same time, and 2 of them have quotes and have different people contributing to them, because that's it's not just my story. It's my story that kind of started it, but I wanted other people to be involved and being connected, especially, like I said, with the 4 o'clock faculty, with my 53s. And you hear all of these great stories, but they're only being shared within our groups unless people are writing about them. And so I wanted to kind of push a lot of that out. And when I started, and I had that secret writing project, I created a Google form. I think I had 2, where I just typed in all of the quotes that I thought about using between 2 different books, having no idea whatsoever what it was going to look like. I had the people select like quotes that resonated with them. And then I just started to kind of divide it up, and I sent emails like, do you want to write about this? Do you want to write a vignette or a chapter? And it was like, there was a lot of planning that went into it initially. And then even as I was writing it, but then the way that I thought about putting it together, and I think I talked to you about this too, was using the quote by Mark Carbone and Donna Fry, which is connected learners need connected leaders, and having that be the last part of the book and having the guest chapters there. But as I read what the people had written, I realized, no, they're kind of like fitting in between the other chapters. So it's like, here's what we think, and not just me. And then in other words, here's another person. So putting it all together and then reaching out and asking people, hey, do you want to create a graphic or something? I really wanted it to be something that involved a lot of people. So I didn't realize how much I would have to kind of facilitate all of that until driving home one day. And I went, oh, I guess I really have a lot of organizing to do. But the fact that it's put together, and it's been a great process, and I would love to do it again.
That is awesome. So kudos to you, because that took a lot of organization and just skilled. So, we're not worthy, we're not worthy,
Right.
Yeah, so great job pulling that off. That is amazing. So you spoke about you were hoping that one of the things that would impact a reader would be that they would feel compelled to share their story. So what advice would you give to people who are just kind of starting out in this connected space and are interested in sharing their story?
Yeah, I think a lot of times people will say, well, I don't have anything to offer. I don't know what I would write about. I had a conversation with somebody yesterday, and I won't say who it is, but I said, you have so much to offer. Like, I've heard these people speak, or I've seen them interact, at conferences and so forth. And you just have to start somewhere, and you have ideas and something that you do. I mean, so many things that we do are so unique to us. And they might even be like epic fails that we've had. Like even in those failures that we have, if we tell somebody that, like that might be the one idea that they haven't tried yet that's going to work. And so I always think that even if you just tell one person and that person needs it and remembers it, or if they find somebody else and they hear and they can say, hey, you know what, I heard this story, putting it out there. Like that's just so important to share the stories, because when I think about it, as educators, what we are doing in our classroom or in our roles is like we're trying to empower others to speak and to get their voices out there. And so we need to do the same thing and share our own stories. And then that's how we end up connecting and learning as we go.
Yeah, that is so true. And one thing that you said I definitely wanted to echo was about how we do this as educators. Like this is kind of what we're meant to do to, our students have their voices. So, amplifying them, encouraging them to share it. So, and I love how you're just modeling that just by, I mean, in this book, but also beyond that, you're just like a very passionate about connecting with folks, and I really respect that. And Heather said that you're a rock star, and I want to agree with her on that. I definitely want to second that. So, hey Heather, thanks for joining us.
She's a rock star. She did a
All
lot
right.
of the graphics of our book too.
Oh yeah, she is definitely a rock star. So hey Heather. All right, cool. So you have a lot of great things going on. So tell us what is coming up for you that we can look out for.
Well, be talking about this book with everybody, hopefully for a long time, and getting new stories. I do have another book coming out, hopefully at the end of May, and there's another one out there too. I'm working on a book for ISTE. And then speaking of ISTE, I'm thrilled to be able to go to Philadelphia this year at the end of June. So I'll be there, get to hang out with some EduMatch people, some 4 o'clock faculty people, my 53s. I'm sad when the school year ends, because like I miss the students and I miss those opportunities to learn with them. But then in the same, like the flip side is I have opportunities to go and learn more with my friends and like spend my summer like reading and learning, which like I get excited about that part. So I'm just doing some reading, maybe catch up on a little bit of sleep, but looking for some more projects to work similar to this. But I think that might be about it.
Well, that is awesome. I'm definitely here for all of it. Cannot wait. So for anyone who does not know how to get in contact with you, which would blow my mind because you are like literally everywhere. So, but for if you could share your contact information so that people could connect with you, that would be amazing.
All right. So it's pretty easy. I'm pretty consistent with things on Twitter. It's RDENE915. My blog site is the same thing. You just put the www and the .com after it. If anybody wants to send me an email, same rdene915@gmail. I think that pretty much covers it. I do have other accounts, but Facebook, I don't use those too much. But yeah, I mean, if anybody has questions, if anybody wants to share a story, you read a quote from the book. Of course, I have to hold it up, right? So proud of student work, especially. And that's the one thing I didn't say was the students that wrote a chapter in this too in the cover. So yeah, I would love to hear from everybody, or use the hashtag #quotes4edu.
Awesome. So quotes and the number 4 edu. Love it. Love it. Love it. Meredith was saying, hope that you will both share lots while you're at that conference. We learn so much when you tweet out about it. So definitely please tweet. Rachelle, when you're at ISTE, and anyone else who's watching who's going to be at ISTE, please tweet your learnings as well. So I wanted to thank you again, Rachelle, for coming on here and sharing with us. I'm always so inspired by everything that you do. So everybody connect with Rachelle. She is an incredible educator, an incredible human being. So really just so happy to have you here on the show. So thanks again for joining us, Rachelle.
Thank you. I'm happy to be on the show. And thank you for everything that you do. Like, we don't have enough time for me to give you all the thanks that you deserve. You know. And thank you for answering my messages.
No. Oh my goodness. No, thank you so much. And Heather says that she'll be there too. So she'll be at ISTE. So yay, Heather, cannot wait. So speaking of ISTE, so that brings me to two announcements, because ISTE is coming up in what, like 2 months? Not even now. So definitely, if y'all want to be part of the EduMatch festivities and go to events.edumatch.org/ISTE19, So definitely check that out. We're going to have karaoke now. Quite honestly, I set up a Google form. I said like the first 20 or so people who said they want to do karaoke will be in with their deposit. I have not checked that since I set it up. So I have no idea, how many people are signed up for karaoke, if there's spots left for karaoke, whatever. But check that out. Sunday, I know for sure we're going to have lunch at Rosa's Pizza. So great cause. Definitely read up on them if you get a chance. But we really want to support that. So that's going to be Sunday, 11 to 2, I believe, unless we change the time. Just check the form. Check the form. That's what I mean to say. And you'll know when you look at the form what time everything is, because it's all on there. Let's see. Other than that, want to give a shout out to Jeff Kubiak, because he will be dropping one drop of kindness. Dropping one drop of kindness this Friday, May the 3rd. So Gus the Kindness Kid, the world is going to meet Gus the Kindness Kid, and truly. So check him out, books.edumatch.org/one drop of kindness. And you'll see the Amazon pre-order for the Kindle, and the paperback will be coming shortly. So it'll be there by Friday, knock on wood, if all goes well, which I'm sure it will. So definitely check that out. And yeah, so next week we're taking the week off. Fun Times Publishing Conference. So we are going to have an EduMatch Rewind going on. So check that out. It's always fun to take a throwback to 2015 and see what people were talking about then, see if we're still talking about the same stuff now. So we'll have the Twitter chat and all that jazz. So feel free to jump in and watch the video. So that's about it for this week. So thank you everybody for watching, and we will see you next week. So, all right, have a great one.